Hi there, my name is Garrett. I'm the COO and co-founder of Microgreen Manager, and today we're going to talk about what happens when you create a recurring order. How does the software treat this information? So we're here on our recurring orders page. We'll create a recurring order real quick. For the National Museum, it'll recur forever, and it will start on the 15th, which is a Friday, and we will have it repeat every Friday. Now we have a separate video for this button and how it will create orders that are already in progress in your farm. But for today, we are not going to cover that button. And we'll make this a super simple order. We'll just put two crops in it, one for arugula and one for mustard. Great. Now we have the order populated to start next Friday and be every Friday thereafter in perpetuity. We can see here some of the data for the order, including the start time that we entered, which is a week from Friday. We have the frequency that it is every Friday and the lead time. The lead time is going to be the time it takes to grow the longest growing variety in this order, which for this order, arugula is set to 14 days and mustard to 18. We can see that if we click into it, the lead time or grow time here is 18 days for mustard and 14 days for arugula. The next thing we need to know is that despite the fact that our first order, we want it to be due or ready next Friday, that's only 10 or 12 days in the future, which is not enough time to grow this order in its entirety. So what the software will choose to do is to push back the start time until it knows it can grow everything in this order to be ready all at once for the first delivery day. And so for this order, that ends up being Friday, December 29th. So it's going to look at least 18 days in the future. And if 18 days in the future happens to be a Friday, then that's awesome. But what's likely is that the software is going to look 18 days in the future. In this case, it's probably a Sunday or a Monday. And it's going to go to the next Friday or the next delivery day thereafter, which in this case, we want it to be on a Friday. And that just happens to be 24 days in the future on Friday, December 29th. So this child order here is one that is now populated in the system. The software has gone ahead and created all the plantings and all the tasks you need to do in order to make this first full order ready at the closest possible date given the lead time, which is December 29th. And we can see some of the math that's happening behind the scenes if we open up this upcoming orders to be created. And so what the software is doing here for all recurring orders is it's going to scan all recurring orders every day, multiple times a day, and determine if it needs to generate any more child orders and therefore any more tasks and plantings for you to start being aware of. So working further into the future from this child order that we know exists in the system, that is for Friday, December 29th. The next Friday after that up here is going to be Friday, January 5th, then January 12th, 19th, 26th, and so on. So these are the delivery days for those orders. They need to be started, as in started growing. Something in this order needs to be started, in this case, the mustard. So again, the lead time here is 18 days. So those orders need to be started on these days, which means the system will look 1 week in advance of when an order needs to be started, and it will populate it in the system, which means that all of these orders for January 5th will be started. So the first task will show up or be dated for you to complete on Monday, December 18th, which means you will see that task show up in the system 1 week before on Monday, December 11th. So by doing it this way, we're not overloading you, the user, or the system with an excess of data looking infinitely into the future to try to populate all recurring orders for years and years in the future. It's just going to look for the longest grow time, and then it is going to add a week onto that, and that's when it'll show up in your system. So that's some of the math that is happening behind the scenes here. And once we get to Monday, December 11th, the software will generate this order. It'll take it out of this sort of hidden queue and create all the tasks and plantings, moving it from a line item under here to being a child order. And you will see the tasks appear. And then when the time comes, you can start those plantings. And if you want to learn how to force the software to populate orders or child orders in a recurring order that are already underway in your farm, rather than starting at this longest lead time type situation that we just explained, then go watch our other video titled Onboarding, Creating in Progress Recurring Orders, so that you can get the software to basically catch up with reality of what's already growing and what already exists in your farm, rather than starting sort of from a dead stop and looking as far out and as conservatively into the future as we've just shown. And that video will cover how to do that. Thanks.